you have not seen privately, and you're never supposed to share any of the diagnosis that you've made privately. Why have you come to this point?
Because of exactly what you mentioned, this duty to warn. If we could construct a psychiatric Frankenstein monster, we could not create a leader more dangerously mentally ill than Donald Trump. He's a paranoid, psychopathic narcissist who's divorced from reality and lashes out impulsively at his imagined enemies. And this is someone, as you mentioned, who's handling the nuclear codes. You know, this Goldwater law, or rule, is frankly absurd from three different vantage points. First, the debacle that took place during Goldwater's era was in the Freudian time, before we had the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. The great advance of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual is it gave us clear behavioral diagnostic criteria for every disorder. So whereas these psychiatrists were saying he had potty training issues and latent homosexuality issues that were unproved concepts, we now know if we can observe someone's behavior and their words, we know that we can diagnose them. And actually, this whole idea that the psychiatric interview is the gold standard for making an assessment is just frankly not true. Empirical research shows that the psychiatric interview is one of the least reliable ways of forming a diagnosis. That behavior and informants, and obviously we have thousands of hours of behavior and informants, are much more accurate. And finally, as far as ethics go, I would argue to my colleagues that those who don't speak out are being unethical. That if we have some knowledge and understanding about the unique danger that Donald Trump presents through our psychiatric training and we don't say something about it, history is not going to judge us kindly.
Dr. Dotis, I'd like to show you some video of Donald Trump, because everything we're talking about is based on what you've been able to see him do publicly on video. And there was a moment that for me was the, pardon the expression from an amateur, but the sickest moment of Donald Trump's lying history. It was in a South Carolina debate when he said he lost hundreds of friends on 9/11. Let's just look at this.
How did he keep us safe when the World Trade Center? The world, I lost hundreds of friends.
Okay, now here's the truth. It was not hundreds. The next day, 12 hours later on Meet the Press, he reduced the hundreds to, he lost many, many friends. The truth is he lost zero. Donald Trump did not attend a single 9/11 funeral. He stands there in front of a debate audience, says he lost hundreds of friends of 9/11. The truth is he lost zero. He lost nothing. He suffered nothing on 9/11. What do you call that? What did we just see?
Well, it's lying, but there are two pieces to it, I think. One is that he lies because of his sociopathic tendencies that Dr. Gartner was talking about, that he lies in the way anybody who scams people does, that he's trying to sell an idea or a product by telling you something that's untrue. There's that lying. There's also the kind of lying he has that is, in a way, more serious, that he has a loose grip on reality. We can say that because he lies about things which aren't even that important to him, like the Electoral College majority, and he's been told that it's not true, but he keeps doing it. I think what that indicates is that he can't stand an aspect of reality that he doesn't want, so he rejects it. His grasp of reality and his attention to reality is loose, an extremely dangerous trait in a president. Actually makes him unqualified.
And John Gartner, I mean, it's certainly there are people who we could find who exhibit more overt mental illness but they could never actually get themselves up onto a debate stage and put sentences together. And it seems to me that your point is within the realm of people who could possibly win a major party nomination and then go on to win the presidency. Exactly. This, you're saying, is as sick mentally as you can get.
Right. This is literally the worst case scenario, because you're right, if he was a paranoid schizophrenic and he was wearing a tinfoil hat, then he wouldn't be elected president. But he's just sane enough, as it were, to pass, but actually detached from reality, as Dr. Dotis said, so that what is real is fluid. It's totally malleable according to his personality disorder. And so you have someone handling the nuclear codes who's not in touch with reality and who's paranoid, who actually imagines that he's under attack by people who are not actually attacking him. Then what you have is a very dangerous combination of someone who can act on his paranoid fantasies in a way that can have catastrophic consequences.
I wish we had more time for this discussion. I'm sure we're going to come back to it another night. I really appreciate you joining us on this. Lance Dotis and John Gartner, thank you both very much for joining us tonight.
You're welcome.